Bomb Show.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Jason. How you guys doing there? I wanted to make a small video about something that I've been working on for the past several months. Working actually pretty hard on. It's our arcade at the shop here. We don't have too many machines, so it's nothing grand or phenomenal, but I'm really proud of it because the majority of the stuff here I built myself, or at least refurbished and clean stuff up, and basically I find a lot of old machines or get good deals on cabinets that weren't working or whatever, and then I turn them into machines that are like my favorites or some of the classic machines that I always wanted to have, that I didn't get to play much or whatever. So I guess I'll get some lights on in here and show some of these games more up close and personal, and show you guys what's up. What's up, party players in the place to be? So we're gonna start it off with the classic, one of my absolute favorite games of all time, Street Fighter Alpha 3, and I like to try to collect the Capcom CPS2 blue boards because I like all the text and language and everything to be in English, but some of them are getting hard to find. I desperately want to get Vampire Hunter Night Warriors and Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition. Those are my two most sought after games, which I don't have, but I got a nice gang of CPS2 games. I mean, we got all the alphas. This one was originally this cabinet was a what do you call it? A House of the Dead cabinet. When I got it, it wasn't functioning, but when I busted it open, there was a Dreamcast inside. So somebody rigged up a Dreamcast. It was coin operated, everything. It was pretty cool when it worked, but by the time I got it, it wasn't working anymore. But I got the cabinet for a really good deal, and I basically finished all the surfaces, and I get new marquees, paint them up really nice, hook them up really nice. So that's one of my absolute favorite games of all time. All the Alpha stuff, I love them. Next we got the X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which is a lot of people's favorite tag team fighting game of all time. Not one of mine, but it's still a really cool game. This is also a CPS2 Capcom title, and this game, what's really special about this game is under this thin skin of black vinyl, and under these marquees, and under all of this, control panel overlays and all that stuff, there is this is the original 1987 Street Fighter 1 dedicated arcade machine, which is super rare, super awesome, especially because I've got all the original side decals, everything. So this is probably my most important cabinet, and which is why it's even covered. The only thing that's not original on this anymore is the joysticks, buttons, and speaker system. It's still the original monitor and everything from 1987, the original Street Fighter 1. Love this machine, and it's really cool that it's got Street Fighter 2, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and I've also got the Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, and which is another cool game. I actually like that one more because of Cyber Goki or Akuma, Robot Akuma on that one. Moving down to this, we have one of my absolute favorite Capcom series of all time. This is Vampire Savior, which is part 3 in the series. Started with Darkstalkers, went to Night Warriors or Vampire Hunter or whatever, and then they went to Vampire Savior or Darkstalkers 3, and then they were also which I desperately need part 2 of this, and then there were also Vampire Hunter 2 and Vampire Savior 2, which they only made, I believe, in Japanese boards. I used to have one of those. I got rid of it. I just want the originals. This one's an awesome machine. This used to be a Mr. Do cabinet, and I think I may have some before and afters for some of these arcade machines. If I do, I'll show them to you so you can see what they used to look like before I did them all up. And here you got to see these signs I got to put on these machines. These games are vintage, custom built, pay to play arcade machines. Otherwise, look, but please don't touch. Thank you, because I understand when people come in here, they see arcade machines and they think games are fun, but people don't think also about these are old school now and really hard to come by, especially in nice condition and in full working order. I put these damn things together myself, so it's especially difficult to watch when people come in here. You know, I just want to. But anyway, let's move it down here. This is, of course, a Neo Geo. Everybody remembers these Neo Geos. Playing Viewpoint. It's the one slot board, but I got this machine with the Neo Geo motherboard in it, and I basically, I'll move over to this side. I basically, maybe not this side. I basically cleaned this thing up, made new marquees, made new overlays, basically redo the graphics on all of the machines. The monitor was fine, you know, I repaint the cabinets. And what's in here is actually a single slot motherboard with the 161 MVS cartridge, which, yeah, some games are a little weird on it, some games glitch, but you know what? I got a Metal Slug 5 in this with this machine, and the Metal Slug 5 paid for all of the upgrades, all of the everything I did to it, and the 161 Neo Geo cartridge. So it was a pretty good score with some time, creativity, and just wanting to fix these things up. You know, I love these machines. So yeah, let's move on to the other machines. Yeah, so this machine here, I got a funny story about this machine actually. I love this one. Yo, it was good, cuz. Please, dog. This machine right here, I've actually had this machine for probably 15 or so years. And wow, this originally came to me as a Hyper Neo Geo 64, which I was a complete idiot to pull the JAMA tube out of it. And I converted it to, I basically wired all of my home game systems to left and right controllers in here based on PS2 controllers with adapters and plugs and all this and this and that. But I had this machine hooked up to about 20 game systems at once. Everything from like Sega Master System to Dreamcast and in between. It was crazy. I had, you know, and at the time I was working at a GameStop, not a GameStop, it was called Funkoland or whatever. So I was, you know, I was just going crazy collecting games and you know, I worked there for a few years, man, so I was getting all kinds of weird things come by the shop that like import stuff we couldn't even buy at the shop. I didn't care. I was buying it up and I was offering people money and taking their stuff because the shop was ripping people off anyway, so I was like, you know what, if I offer them a little more and take cash, which I wasn't supposed to do, I didn't care. So I had this thing blown out and I could play, you know, 1,000 games on it because I had hundreds of games for almost every system. But eventually I converted it back to JAMA with, you know, with television tube and AV adapters and this and that and that and this. But it's running a Pandora Box 4, which is about 650 games. Real nice, you know, regular 6-button per side, 2-player, and it's got everything in there, man, from like Pac-Man to like Marvel vs. Capcom stuff, everything in between. All arcade stuff, nothing really home system specific like Sega or Mario, you know, nothing Mario or Sonic or anything like that, but all the cool arcade classic stuff, all the shooters, all the 2D fighters, the adventures, the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, the Streets of Rage stuff, SNK, Neo Geo, Capcom, Taito, all that, whatever, all that crap is. But anyway, and this is a super hard to find machine, especially in really nice shape like this. I got lucky when I got it. I wish I didn't convert it over, but a good buddy of mine, Sal, he has one. It's pretty piss yellow shape. I've been talking to him, see if I can get it. I would love to refurbish that machine as well and leave it JAMA. But let's go check out some of the other machines. So here we go with the last section of video games. First off, I have a Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and I have to be honest, this machine I purchased as is. I didn't do anything to this machine. A buddy of mine gave me a great deal on it. He was getting rid of it, and I seized the opportunity, and it is in spectacular shape. Of course, I could do stuff to it to make it that much better, but you know what? A B+ is more than fine for me, especially because people are going to be putting their hands on it. So another cool machine. I would really love to build a MK MK2 machine one day because that's the one I played the most. And actually, I would love to have an MK4 machine because that was my best Mortal Kombat. I was really good on that one. But this one's great because it's got a lot of characters and it's really cool. And the machine is beautiful. And they all have pretty much the same cabinets, the original Midway Mortal Kombat cabinets, which also brings to mind I would love to build a Killer Instinct. I would love to build one of those. Eventually, maybe so we'll do. Moving on, this machine, this is one of my favorites. I'm really starting to love to play this game, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I also have Marvel Capcom 1. But that's CPS 2. This is running on the Naomi system. Got this machine in really nice shape, but I did a lot of work to it, and it's a whole lot nicer now. I redid all the graphics, redid paint job, put a different monitor in it because the one that was in it got screwed up. This one's pretty small. I can put a lot larger one in it, but it works fine, so I'm not too worried about it. I love this machine. This machine is, and this game is so much fun. Love this one. Always wanted to get this one. I'm glad I got this one. I had to drive about 8 hours to get this, but again, the guy was looking to get rid of it, and I got a great opportunity, great deal. So moving down, this is another one I basically built from the ground up. This was an old Mortal Kombat 2 machine that was just nothing worked on it. It was completely dead. I put a television in it, all new overlay, all new joysticks, buttons, marquees, this and that, whatever, coin mechs, everything. Sound system, AV, RGB converters, all that blah blah blah. And I put a Pandora's Box 3 in here, which is pretty cool, very similar to Pandora's Box 4, but a few less games, and a little more problems with some of the games, I guess. I don't know. You know what? For the stuff that's in those multi-cade boards, and for how cheap they are, you know, you get them for anywhere from $100 to $200 a board or whatever. They're freaking phenomenal. They're great, and then some of them have like regular AV hookup or whatever, and you know they make it simple to hook them up to like computer monitors. I'm sorry, you have you know VGA hookup, which is awesome, man. You get a controller, hook it up to that, you hook it up to a computer monitor. You got all the video games that you can remember growing up in the 80s and 90s, and some just great stuff, really cheap. Now this final machine, oh, let me get on this side. And by the way, I have some of them are still on, some of the marquees are on, but I usually take the lights out of the marquees because it gets really warm up in here, and summer in California, people rolling up in here with the armpits and all that, you know how that goes. So anyway, I can save on heat and conducting heat, like taking out light bulbs from marquees. I'm gonna make it happen. Anyway, last machine, this machine. Can't believe I actually have a showcase cabinet in this beautiful shape with a game that to me this is one of my absolute favorites, Capcom SNK 2. I also have Capcom SNK 1. This is the Naomi GD ROM system, which is Flavor Berserk, and it's funny because I was buying the components to hook this system up. I bought the power source, the audio amps, the GD-ROM player, the DIM board, a separate Naomi motherboard, the Capcom I/O board. I was trying to hook this machine up, and I found someone that was again trying to sell that machine, and I was like, oh my god, it's all done for me already. I don't got to do anything. And I started organizing, arranging this deal, and the dude sold it out from under me when I told him I had already wanted it, and I was devastated. About a week later, I just happened to be on Craigslist, and I saw this game, and I saw just a small photo that was framed just a little bit larger than the actual screen, but I could tell it was a marquee cabinet, and I immediately called the person because I couldn't believe what they wanted for it, again, giving it away. And I was like, hey man, is everything fine with this machine? Does it work? Oh, and the guy was like, oh man, actually it's in really good shape too. It's actually the cleanest showcase cabinet I've ever seen. I was like, what? I was like, listen, I want it. It would make me feel a lot more comfortable if you removed the ad so that I would know, because I was like, listen, someone just sold one of these out from under me. I'm coming all the way from, coming from Big Bear. I got to drive down the mountain. And the dude was like, hey, wait a minute, man. Did you buy an Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 machine? I was like, what? And I was like, is that it? And it was the same dude I got the Mortal Kombat from. So the guy gave me the deal of the century. He even gave me a coin, a $1 coin changing machine, which is beautiful, which actually mounts to the side of the Mortal Kombat. I don't know if you can see it there, but it mounts to the side of the Mortal Kombat. It's a change machine, and this machine machine was in phenomenal shape. Yes, I cosmetically redid the whole machine anyway, but he was right, it was in beautiful shape. The only possible thing I could do right now to make this any better is redo some of the T-molding on it, but it looks 95%, and it is beautiful. It's one of the best games. And for the Naomi GD-ROM system, we've also got a Capcom vs. SNK 1, 2, we got Project Justice, we have Guilty Gear Isuka, we have a Gundam game, and then, so this machine, the Capcom SNK 2, the Marvel Capcom 2, the Neo Geo 64 cabinet, and the original Street Fighter 1, which is now the X-Men vs. Street Fighter. Those are my absolute, I will never get rid of those 4 cabinets. I may build and do other things with others, this and that. Mortal Kombat's really high up there, so I doubt I'll ever get this one. But I have built cabinets and sold some games. I made a really nice Miss Pac-Man. It was like a midway 12 game system, whatever. Sold that one, really nice. I sold another 80 game multi-cade system. I sold a few machines that have helped me actually build and buy other machines, which is freaking awesome because the machines are already paying for themselves. Plus they make money, which is awesome. And I have in the works, I just got an Atomic Wave. I got 2 Atomic Wave systems. There's Fist of the North Star and Neo Geo Battle Coliseum. We've also got really cool odd games like Street Fighter the movie. We got Street Fighter EX, which is the original first 3D Street Fighter from like 1995, 96, 97. Really cool. I still think it plays way better than any of the new Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5 3D incarnations, because they're still 3D looking on a 2D playing field environment. But anyway, as I build more games, I will make videos. I hope you guys enjoy what I'm extremely passionate about, which is these old school video games. I play them all the time, and I have even more fun when somebody walks in here and they're like, oh my god, blah blah blah, and we get down and we start playing. And I mean, even everything from like Metal Slug to, you know, Knights of the Round, to classics like Bad Dudes and Toki and you know, Rastan and Ninja Gaiden and all these sick games, man. It's just, it'll keep me young forever. This is what I love, and I'll keep you guys posted with more of our video game arcade updates. Peace.